Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's me again, Golden Blue Dude. And hey, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. I do college football videos every single day. And no, I haven't done a lot of college basketball videos, but I promise they're coming, especially when March Madness rolls around. Don't forget to check out my Patreon page. A lot of stuff going on over there. Much wider selection now. And don't forget about my PayPal contest. The person with the highest donation by the end of this month wins a brand new 42-inch Roku Smart TV worth $300. And Golden Blue Dude is now on TikTok. And today I put out a video of all the names that I pronounce weirdly all in one video, so go check that out. I think you'll like it. Now on to today's video. We're talking about the transfer portal again, and a big name has entered the transfer portal. I'm talking about Jayden Daniels, the quarterback of Arizona State, former Heisman Trophy hopeful that lit up the stat sheets over there at Arizona State. He has entered the transfer portal. I'm telling you right now, Arizona State is about to start tumbling down the hill big time, and Herm Edwards might not be the coach there for much longer. Here are his stats. In 2019, 205 for 308, 60.7% threw for 2,943 yards, 17 touchdowns, just 2 interceptions. He's also a pretty good dual threat quarterback. 125 carries for 355 yards, just 2.8 yards a carry and 3 touchdowns. But he gets better. In 2020, 49 for 84, that's 58.3%, threw for 701 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Much better on the ground in 2020. 33 carries for 223 yards, 6.8 yards a carry, and 4 touchdowns. In 2021, the interception bug bit him. He was 197 for 301, that's 65.4%, threw for 2,381 yards, 10 touchdowns, but 10 interceptions. However, he did have a great year on the ground. 138 carries for 710 yards, 5.1 yards a carry, and 6 touchdowns. He is officially in the transfer portal. And yes, that is going to massively impact Arizona State. I do not expect the Sun Devils to be a contender in the Pac-12 South this year. In fact, I predicted them to take a small step backwards last year. That happened. It's going to be a bigger step backwards in 2022. So now we look at the teams that Jayden Daniels could potentially go to. Well, I've picked out 4 teams out of the Power 5 conferences. I know he could go to a group of 5, but I'm going to leave them out of the equation for now. So 4 teams out of each of the Power 5 conferences. First, let's say he stays in the Pac-12. Where could he go in the Pac-12? First off, I'm thinking Washington. I think Washington has the potential to be a pretty good team in the Pac-12 North. They need a decent quarterback. Jayden Daniels could be that decent quarterback. Washington will have a really good defense this year. Their schedule isn't all that bad. I think Jayden Daniels would be a perfect fit for the Washington Huskies, whose brand has been kind of sliding here recently. But Washington has a lot of money up there. They are a potential dark horse in the Pac-12 North. Just 2 years ago, they should have been Pac-12 North champions. And then, of course, last year, that horrific season. So this could be a bounce back year if they can grab Jayden Daniels. He could also go to UCLA. Chip Kelly could use Jayden Daniels immensely. I think he would be a perfect fit for that offense. I think UCLA would be a major contender in the Pac-12 South. I already think they are, but with Jayden Daniels, they could be an elite offensive team next year. So UCLA could definitely be a landing spot for Jayden Daniels. What about Utah? Utah has been the home of traveling quarterback. They get decent talent, but it's usually leftovers from other teams. Well, Jayden Daniels fits that criteria, but I think he's more dynamic than some of the others. And what about Colorado? Colorado is known for their offense. They had a big letdown year this past year, which I predicted, but they are known for their offense. I think Jayden Daniels would fit into that offense, but in order for Colorado to be a contender in the Pac-12, they have got to fix that defense. Now let's jump over to the Big 12. Yes, I am going to mention my team, West Virginia. We need a quarterback with experience. I do think Nico Markle is the future at West Virginia, but he needs somebody he can learn behind. I think Jayden Daniels would be an excellent quarterback to learn from and take the reins over once Jayden Daniels is gone. So I think he would be a good fit at West Virginia. What about Kansas State? Skylar Thompson, he's an injury machine. He's a good quarterback when he's healthy, but how long can he stay healthy? Jayden Daniels would be a perfect fit for Kansas State. What about Iowa State? They lose Brock Purdy. That offense could take a major step backwards if they don't have a decent quarterback to take his place. In comes Jayden Daniels, and Iowa State doesn't miss a beat. In fact, they might take a step forward if they can grab Jayden Daniels. And then there's Texas. Yes, they have Ewers waiting in the wings, but he's really inexperienced. I know they're expecting great things out of him, but he also needs somebody to learn behind. Jayden Daniels could be the perfect fit over there at Texas. And to be honest, honest with you, he could be the key to saving Steve Sarkisian's job. Yeah, after year one, Steve Sarkisian is most definitely on the hot seat. He needs all the help he can get to get off that hot seat. Jayden Daniels could be that help. On over to the Big Ten. I'm thinking Indiana. They just lost Michael Penix Jr. to the transfer portal. Jayden Daniels would be an excellent replacement. I still think that Tom Allen is a pretty good coach over there in Indiana, and I think Jayden Daniels would fit perfectly into that offense, and I think Indiana would be a contender in the Big Ten East with Jayden Daniels. What about Michigan State? Well, one of their weaknesses is at quarterback. They have a great defense. I know they're losing their running back, but that offensive line is great. I think they would give Jayden Daniels a lot of protection, but if the pocket does break down, he's a great dual threat quarterback. I think he would fit very well at Michigan State, and Michigan State would be a very, very, very dangerous team in the Big Ten East. What about Purdue? Yeah, he could fit at Purdue. I don't think it's the best fit in the world, but I think it could work. And Purdue would be a legitimate Big Ten West title contender right up there with Wisconsin, Iowa, and Nebraska. Yeah, you heard me right. I think Nebraska will be a contender in 2022. Speaking of Nebraska, he could fit at Nebraska too. And Nebraska could turn into an eyebrow-raising Big Ten West contender. I already think they have the potential. I know they went 3-9 last year, but they lost all of their games by razor-thin margins. They just need that one piece to get over the hump. That one piece could be Jayden Daniels. And trust me, if you're the hero in Lincoln, they'll make a statue at the University of Nebraska. So if you're looking for hero worship, head on over to Nebraska, Jayden, and have you some success. On over to the ACC. First up, North Carolina. Yeah, Sam Howell, he's going to be gone. North Carolina's recruiting at a high level at the quarterback position, but once again, they need somebody that they can learn behind so they won't be deer in the headlights once they start playing. I think Jayden Daniels could be that guy they learn behind. And I think North Carolina could be a serious contender in the ACC with Jayden Daniels. Right behind them, NC State. Very up and down quarterback play at NC State. I expect NC State to be a decent team in the ACC Atlantic, but Jayden Daniels could turn them from a decent team to possibly an Atlantic Coast Division title contender right up there with Clemson. I think NC State would benefit greatly from Jayden Daniels. What about Louisville? Yeah, Louisville is a little bit under the radar right now. I think they're one of the teams that are going to have a big bounce back year this year. I don't think they're going to be up there with Clemson, maybe middle of the pack, 8-4, possibly 9-3 season, getting to a decent bowl. Jayden Daniels could bump them up to a 10-win team. So yes, most definitely, Louisville could use Jayden Daniels. And finally, Florida State. Man, the Seminoles, they used to dominate college football in the 90s. Grabbed them a national championship in 2013. But ever since then, not much. You talk about a spark in the program, Jayden Daniels would provide that spark. Maybe Florida State, the brand, could be back instead of losing to an FCS Jacksonville State. And finally, the SEC. The first team that pops in my head in the SEC that needs a quarterback now is Auburn, and they need one desperately. Bo Nix entered the transfer portal. Brian Harsin is coaching for his life right now. He got investigated. Of course, they're keeping him, but he knows in the back of his head that they want him gone and that they're going to continue wanting him gone unless he produces on the field. Auburn, and especially Brian Harsin, need Jayden Daniels. And this would be a great fit for Jayden Daniels. Auburn already has an elite defense. They usually have a good running game. They're just missing a great quarterback. Jayden Daniels could be that great quarterback. Don't get me wrong, Auburn has more issues than just the quarterback position, but that would help greatly down there on the plains. Right behind them, Arkansas, kind of the same situation. Pretty good defense, up and down quarterback play, need more consistency. Jayden Daniels could provide that consistency. What about Texas A&M? They've really had some issues at quarterback recently. Last year, Calzada, he did not have a good year. I think he entered the transfer portal. So out goes Calzada. In comes Jayden Daniels, and Texas A&M could challenge Alabama for the SEC West. And finally, yes, I'm going to say it. If you haven't been thinking about it, where have you been? Georgia, because JT Daniels entered the transfer portal. I know. Kirby Smart has made it known that Stetson Bennett is the quarterback, but Stetson Bennett is not an elite quarterback. He's just not. It was the defense that won that national championship at Georgia last year. If they had an elite quarterback, Georgia could be unstoppable in 2022. Jayden Daniels is that elite quarterback. So out goes one Daniels, in comes another Daniels. I think Jayden Daniels would be a great pickup for Georgia. I'm sorry, Stetson Bennett. You had your moment in the limelight. You won your national championship, but you are not the future of Georgia. I think Jayden Daniels could keep Georgia at that elite level because the weakness of Georgia is the quarterback position. Stetson Bennett is good enough to not lose a game for Georgia, but he's not good enough to actually win a game for Georgia. I think Jayden Daniels is good enough to win games for Georgia. So there you go. Y'all let me know where you think Jayden Daniels could end up at. That's all I got for you for this show. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on my next show.